Hello and a very warm welcome back to eRacing GP Season 3, Round 3. We're already at the midpoint stage of the third season of eRacing GP. We've seen two classes already playing, and now we are onto the good guys, Alex Young. The silver classes, and then onto the gold. For silver, a real challenge for them this circuit, you've decided?
Yeah, I mean, we're here at Daytona road course. We've seen some excellent racing already so far today. Going to be a slipstreaming fest. You know, we are in the F3 cars for the silver cars. And also, for the first two rounds, we had a slightly different format for silver. It was one long race. But for now, for rounds 3 and 4, we go to the two sprint races. And the normal first qualifying and race 1. And then the second race is a reverse grid. So it'll be the first time the silver drivers are trying that out too.
So a change of format, change of tactics that they might need to introduce as well. Let's just introduce you to some of the names of the drivers. We've got 4 classes going on. And coming into this weekend, these were the 4 leaders in the categories that we have. Miko Nasi leading the gold class. We'll see more from Nico, Singapore-based, but very much a proud Finn. He is leading the way. Dylan Tan, a youngster, is a very, a young driver who's really shown discipline and class over the last few weeks. He leads the silver class. Gav Kintos was the leader going into the bronze, and Francis Matrino was the leader going into the copper. Those 2 races have already happened. But let's talk a little bit about the silver class, Alex. Championship standings as they are.
Yeah, well, we can have a look at the championship standings right now. We'll just pull them up for you.
Dylan leading the way by a single point from Oli Aquino. Jin Mazvilton means it's a very strong Singaporean challenge. Paul Faustino and Joaquim Garrido make it 3 Filipinos in the top 6. Sev Tagulo 4 in the top 8. A champion last year at the bronze class, young Leon Leo. He's in the top 10 as well, Alex. Some very, very good drivers there. But Dylan, I think, has surprised and impressed at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan has always been quick, hasn't he? But he put it together his race in round 2 and he won. Aquino is super consistent. Mazvilton had a bad round 2. Harris, we know, is very quick, so it's going to be very hard to call today.
Okay, so they are the championship standings, but we also have a Nations Cup for you. This is cumulative over the 4 classes. Philippines have accumulated before this weekend 233 points, so they are the proud of ASEAN at the moment, Alex Young.
Yeah, I mean, the Philippines is very strong. And the foundation of the win is how strong they are in the copper and the bronze class. Because we are, like you said, across all 4 classes. So they're doing really well. Malaysia's had a pretty good day so far today as well. So maybe they can close that gap if they do well in silver and gold. And
you've also introduced a team cup as well, just to try to showcase some of the people who are supporting eRacing GP as we enter or midway through our 3rd edition. Sim Racing Pilipinas 153 points, but Stratos not too far away, and anyone, I suppose, even within Tedco, and half the season still to go. There's a couple of challenges for the Teams Cup, Alex.
It's good fun. It's nice to involve the teams and the nations, and I especially like it because we do it across all classes. So some of the top teams in the gold and the silver, they have to kind of reach down to bronze and copper if they want to do well in the Teams Cup. And it just gets everyone in the whole ecosystem of ERGP working together.
Okay, let's focus a little bit more on the silver class. Haris Zephi is one of the Malaysians. You say Malaysia having a decent day today. Why don't we just follow practice just for a little while? And you can talk to me about this circuit. So it's an IndyCar circuit, but with an inside race opportunity as well. So a mix of both of the best courses that we see.
Yeah, it's kind of a challenging track, but the ovals mean there's going to be a slipstreaming fest. We saw it in the other categories, and here with the F3 cars as well, because it's so easy flat through the oval sections. Oof, as you see Mazvilton have a slide through turn 1. So through the oval sections, that you will get a strong slipstream, and it might even be, we might even have a gaggle of cars going into the last lap, and the guy who's in 4th might end up winning the race.
Let's just pick through 1 or 2 of the possible contenders. Joaquim Garrido from Philippines. You mentioned the Filipino challenge, and Joaquim is in the top 10 in the overall championship. Are we expecting him to maybe surge a little bit up the standings in the last 4 races?
I think so. Also, another guy I want to look out for, Troy Iman. He's there in the pit lane right now in the Aussie-coloured cars. He was very quick at the last round and unfortunately spun by himself out of the lead. Otherwise, I think he could have won that round. So he'll be very close. Mazvilton, he was very quick, obviously, in round one. Had a terrible round too. That's why he's not leading the championship. So there are a lot of quick drivers in silver.
And you've got your international contingent as well. Brad McCombs, who wasn't too thrilled with his performance on his debut last week, but he should be more familiar with some of these IndyCar-style circuits.
Yeah, he is. Actually, he's because the starts here are really difficult. We're seeing in all the classes, the cars will slide at the start, and Brad was on the WhatsApp group giving some suggestions about how to get a proper start. And we'll see that here in the Formula 3 guys in the silver class. So at the start, because it's so inclined, when the wheels start to spin, the car will just drift a bit like this. Low-powered cars, these only like 250 horsepower, so you can kind of get away with it. But I tell you what, the gold class later, it's going to be really hard to start those cars because something like 700 horsepower with those Indy cars. They're going to be hard to get off the line.
Okay, let's focus on maybe one or two of the other races. In fact, before I do that, we've spoken an awful lot about the circuit. Let's have a flying lap around the circuit, and I believe we've got one with one of the Singaporean racers from the gold class.
Hello everyone, my name is Jason and today I'll be taking you for a lap around the Daytona International Speedway in the road course layout. So here we are on the final corner of the track, entering the start-finish straight, left out all the way, enjoy the views of Daytona as we cross the start-finish line. Focus into turn 1, you want to be trail braking your car into it, you don't want to be locking your wheels but you also want to carry speed through it. Car on the gas on the exit. Come on the brakes again for this. Get the car turned in. Gently come on the power again. And flat out through this small kink. Car on the brakes. Trail brake into this corner here. You might be rolling the car into the corner and gently squeezing the power on the exit. Car on the brakes for this. Gently do the same thing. You'll run right onto the oval section of the track and just enjoy the banks of Daytona. Take a breather for the next few corners. They are the scariest corners of this track. As we enter the bus stop chicane. You can't see the corner, but now you can see it. Send it into the left, into the right, flat out through here. Hope you don't run wide. And that's it. Those are the scariest corners of the track. And mark my words, lots of accidents will happen over there in the race. It may be me, but I hope not. As we just pass the final corner of the track and onto the start-finish straight and across the line to end the lap. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you later on track.
We did indeed enjoy the video, Jason. Very good stuff. And he calls the bus stop chicane the scariest part of the circuit, Alex. And I think with good reason.
Yeah, so first time I'm watching this race as well, so I'm learning about this track as we go along. You don't want to fight in the bus stop chicane, because even though you might make the move, you just end up compromising your exit, and the guy will slipstream past you again on the way to the line. So especially if you're fighting with people, it's better to just hold back and follow the guys through and try and get a good exit, especially on the last lap. I really think if these drivers are watching how the copper and the bronze were, they're going to learn this, and it'll be smart not to squabble through the bus stop chicane, because then you lose so much time over the next straight, and that straight's very important because it leads to the finish line.
Just a reminder, the format that we're being introducing for the silver edition, it's 2 races. Yep. So keeping it fairly clean is kind of important, Alex, because you don't want to muck up both of the races that you take part in.
Yeah, and it's not the whole grid reverse. In the past, we've done complete grid reversed, but we're not doing that because people would just, if they didn't have a good race, they'd just drop out so they could start the beginning at the front for the next race. So we don't release what number we're going to reverse. It's any number between 13 and 18. So drivers can't drive to that position because they don't know what that position is. And then, so you have to finish. If you want to finish on the front for the next race, you have to try and make sure you're like 10, 11, 12. Then you're kind of safe. If you're 14 and suddenly it's top 13 reverse, then you're going to start 14 and not 1.
You're suggesting that the competitors are prone to taking advantage of rules there, Alex.
Well, the sportsman, of course you are. You're going to use every little advantage you can. That's what professionals do.
Justin Hung, just a little shot of him. There's a couple of Hong Kong entrants today. In fact, let's go through what you call the Spotter's Guide, where we actually pick out all of the liveries that the drivers are going to be racing in around the Daytona circuit. Key men to look out for. Dylan Tan. We haven't really focused on him yet, have we? He's the man in black, the youngster. He is out there, isn't he? I haven't seen him. Yeah, he's not on the track at the moment. Ollie Aquino, Jin Mazvilton, Harris Zeffi is always entertaining with Faustino and Garrido. Plenty of good, healthy liveries out there. The teams are making an effort with their marketing attempts, Alex.
Yeah, so the Filipinos love the white, red, and blue cars. The green ones, the white, yellow, and green ones tend to be Stratos Motorsport. That's not a country specific, but a team specific team. And some of the others as well. So Indonesia's tend to be red and white. And just a good mixture there. Tony Fook then, the only blue coloured car. Yes, of course, he's in the Tedco X-Project team. So he's teammates with Harris Zeffi. So they're both in the dark blue cars.
Okay, we are just about set for qualification. And let's have a look at Dylan Tan. So Dylan Tan, I thought he was in black. Is that Dylan? Has he changed his livery? There he is. There's Dylan.
Yeah.
He's the man in black, and he is the championship leader. So, as an early qualification lap, should we just follow him, Alex?
Yeah.
Talk us around the circuit.
Let's go. Let's follow him then. He's been very quick. I think he qualified second for round 2, didn't he? He didn't put it on pole, but he was there, and then he just did a really good start and kind of led from start to finish after Elman had had his little spin. So we come across this long, there you go, start-finish line there, curves into turn 1. Turn 1's a pretty heavy braking, very hard to spot the braking zone, so drivers often miss it. I've seen if a couple of cars spin to the inside and hit the pit exit wall there. Now turns 2 and 3, they're not really corner that turn 2. Now turn 3. So again, you've got to do it for a late turn in, so you're nice and straight on the way out, otherwise you're battling wheel spin out of that corner. Now turn 4, easy flat through turn 4. You will see cars go side by side here before breaking turn 5. Turn 5's a hairpin. You really do, interestingly enough, use up the left-hand tyres up as we swap drivers.
Oh, sorry, my fault.
As we swap drivers through.
My apologies. There he is. There's back.
Yeah, turn 5.
He's fastest through sector 1, Alex.
He is fastest through sector 1. Now turn 6, always run wide. This is a really important corner. Turn 6, yeah, he's given up on that. He knew he'd messed up, so he's decided to start the lap again. Why don't we try and follow someone else then?
So Ryan Keith is quickest. Brad McCombs might have a little bit of local knowledge. Fastest through sector 1, 31.9.
Yeah, good sector 1. He's gone through the bus stop chicane. No, sorry, he's about to go through the bus stop chicane. He just went through turn 7 here. This is the bus stop chicane. You've got to carry so much speed here. Maximum commitment. You get it slightly wrong, and that's it. You're off into the grass sideways. But he seems to have got it just right. Oh, uses a bit of the grass to the exit. That's fine. And now keep it low.
And fastest into sector 2.
And he is faster through sector 2, but he's also one of the first few guys. So I'm sure there will be quicker guys coming along through this. Now, through this long turn 12. It's one corner. You've got to keep it low through there. And now the short straight, which then leads to the start-finish straight. They don't really call this last corner a corner because it goes across the start-finish straight. He crosses the line now. He goes second at the moment. Ryan Keefe is quickest.
And then he just drops down to 12th, 13th fastest. So he was fastest. But you were quite right in saying there were others out on the circuit who were going to be quicker than him. Amitesh Nyogi from India. He made his debut last week. A very encouraging debut it was as well. He is currently 4th fastest, Alex.
Yeah, Amitesh, really good to see him there. He's been quite vocal, offering good suggestions on the WhatsApp groups. So he's going to start another lap, see where we can go with that. That's Mazvilton, good call. Let's watch him. He'll be in the challenge for pole position. Fastest through sector 1, 2/10 up through sector 2. So this is looking like a good lap. Oh, he's the Arsenal fan, unfortunately. But he's looking good there, calm and collected. He crosses the finishing line. Oh, and that's pole position for the Singaporean.
And by 1/10 of a second ahead of Ryan Keith. So Singaporean 1-2. Ryan Keith looking backwards. There is Ryan Keith in the distinctive all green of the Stratos team. He's not really been on a championship contender, but here, Alex, he's looking pretty quick. A 1:42.6.
Yeah, so let's see if this lap is any quicker. He's going across the finish line. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. He improves slightly. He's, what's that, 300ths off pole position. So has he got enough time to restart? I would restart and not do another lap, but he decides to carry on. Let's watch Elman, because we haven't seen him so far. And he was very quick in round 2 as he goes through the midfield section. So here, turn 4 now turn 5. This tight hairpin. Ooh, he's a 10th up. He's a 10th up in Sector 1. Fast as a Vor. So looking very good. Now coming up to the all-important turn 6. Turn 6 is key here, because it leads onto the long back straight. Oh, it looks just about right. He uses a bit more curb than I think he intended, but I don't think it affected his exit. He looks pretty pleased there. He looks pretty calm, actually. He's a junior karter. Sorry, man, might be a senior karter now, actually. Does a lot of karting within the region. Very good driver indeed with Stratos Motorsports. Still a bit inexperienced, but doing very well indeed. Bus stop chicane. Let's see how he nails this. Let's see what sort of commitment as he comes to the end of Sector 2.
Still fastest.
Still fastest. 2/10 quicks. Oh, he runs a bit wide on the exit. I hope that hasn't cost him. He looks a bit nervous as he goes through that. I'm sure he's worrying how much time. I don't think that was as perfect as he would have liked it. I think he ran just a bit wide at the bus stop. He doesn't look like he's satisfied with that corner, but he was up through Sector 1 and 2. So let's hope he hasn't bled through too much time through the bus stop chicane. And as he comes across the finishing line just about now... Ooh, pole position. Elman does get it. Very well done.
And look at that, instantly out of the cockpit. Just to go and have a quick refresher. 30 seconds from the end of qualification. Troy Iman saying, I've done my job. Justin Hung, currently on the 3rd row, but he's 3/10 down. He's out on the circuit. Amitesh, a little bit of a wiggle. He's not going to have a chance. Haris Zephi, 4th row of the grid, is currently out there, Alex. Haris Zephi might be quick. We're on board with him as we get the first look at the results. Troy Iman in pole alongside Jin Mazvilton. Ryan Keith and Haris Zephi indeed gets himself up into P4. But it's Singapore and Malaysia who are bossing the qualification period around Daytona.
Wow, that was so close. Mazvilton improved. It was just half a 10th off. So really, really close there. This is gonna be a great race.
eRacing GP Silver Edition. We're in the 3rd season. We're off to Daytona, one of the most famous names in motorsport, and a real good test for the Formula 3 cars for the Silver Edition. Alex Young and Des Corkill alongside you. Daytona offers new challenges, Alex.
It does. You got the infield section, which is tight and twisty, a little bit tricky. You have to get good exits out of there, and then the long banked ovals. That's half the track. It's going to be a slipstream fest. These Formula 3 cars are really good, easy flat through there. It's going to be a good race.
It's a 15-minute sprint. We await for the red lights at the top of your screen. They are on. We will go on board with Haris Zephi, currently in P4. Troy Iman on pole alongside Jin Mazvilton, Ryan Keith, and this is Haris Zephi. Haris has got off to a really fast start. So has Jin Mazvilton. Troy Iman is able to hold on though, and it'll be Troy Iman going in. No, he's lost the lead. Mazvilton has taken him on the inside, and Iman goes wide and he actually drops down to P3. Mazvilton leads from Haris Zephi, and Amo Hazik joins me in the commentary box. Terrific start from Mazvilton and Haris. Amo.
They both made a great getaway, and if they swarmed the two Stratos cars. But right now, it's still early in the race. They still got the first lap to negotiate, and the gaggle of cars can still cause plenty of incident. But Mazvilton has made a getaway of dreams. He's on it now. Qualifying has been kind to him, and he's gonna try to make the early breakaway before the first round. No, wait. We're not going to make pit stops. He wants to make a way now within the 15 minutes.
The championship leader is Dylan Tan. He's on the receiving end of some big contact there. Currently down in P9 is Dylan. And again, more contact as Nofal Mohammed gives him 1, 2, 3 spanks from the backside.
Ah man, these young kids, don't give him too much hitting. He will learn anyway. Anyway, he's in 8th, but crucially now, he still has the sights of the rest of the field right in front of him, but he needs to get away from Mohammed Hafaiz.
Up at the front once again. Let's just see how Jim Mazvilton is being able to just settle on the lead. He is doing that. He's raced away to 1.5 second lead, Ammo.
Yeah, it was 1.5 seconds, but now he just lost it through the bus stop. He's only about a second ahead of Troy Ayman, but Ayman's got Zeffy right behind him. Zeffy might just engage Ayman, and it will cause a bit of a kerfuffle between both of them that will increase the lead for Mazvilton.
Kerfuffle's a trademark work, didn't you know? Anyway, Harris Zeffy on the back of Troy Ayman. Harris just pulls out of the slipstream. We are expecting the slipstream to pull things dramatically, but it's Mazvilton, Ayman, Harris, Zeffy, Singapore, Malaysia. Ryan Keith in P4. Harris looking very, very focused in the screen to the right as he goes on the inside. Lot of contact. Has he got enough to get through? The answer is yes. Second for Harris Zeffy.
Oh, no mercy there for the fellow countryman. He slaps himself in the face, and every right to, because he actually caused contact, and that will draw the eye of the steward. So right now, provisionally, he's second. If he stays there, he might not still be safe. He will have to see the stewards whether or not they will give the decision for that contact.
He seems to be working really hard on that steering wheel as well. We're alongside Harris. Let's just low a little bit further down to see the race behind them. The battle in P4. That's Ryan Keith looking backwards. But Troy Ayman and Ryan Keith, the two green Stratos cars, they are battling with each other. It's Troy Ayman who's taken Ryan Keith just at the moment. Ayman from Malaysia leading Keith from Singapore.
And Keith there, going around the outside at the bus stop. But now we saw it in the previous races, as Seth Tagula gets a drive-through penalty. We saw in the previous races, there have been plenty of drivers trying to go around the outside at the bus stop. But unfortunately, the moves either were done or they were contact. And in this case, Ryan Keith just backs off a bit. He knows his team is right in front of him. He doesn't want to cause contact early in the race. That might compromise both their teams and Nations Cup championships.
Interesting look behind there from Ryan Keith. Let's have a look at the local guy. We say there's an American on board, and I'm looking for the American flag, and Brad McCombs, I'm afraid, is a long way down in P20. And Keith Griffel, who is also from the United States, he's a little bit better. He's got himself up into P16, but local knowledge not seeming to help at the moment as Ilham Karim Shakil Aziz gets a drive-through penalty, speeding in the pit lane.
I think that's because he might have had damage from earlier at the start of the race. He went to the pits to fix it, and unfortunately he's got a drive-through penalty. In fact, he's got 2 drive-through penalties in a row, as one car goes off there behind Dylan Tan.
Tan moves up into P7 because Tony Falk made a mistake, and Dylan Tan, very disciplined. Dylan of last year would have been barging people out the way, but a very different, mature, what is he, 12 or 13-year-old these days? Not that old.
Yep. No, not at all by, our generation standards. But anyway, yeah, because look at that. Well, because he is on board now, finally. His screen just looks slightly smaller now, slightly more to his height right now. He's not looking up as much as he was last week. But it doesn't make any difference. He's still quite fast.
Let's focus again, once again, back on Jim Mazvilton. He's extended that lead. It is now over 1.5 seconds. Harris Zeffy is the man who's second behind him, nearly 2 seconds down. In fact, 2 seconds down. And then Troy Ayman is a further 2 seconds down on Harris Zeffy. So Jim Mazvilton, Ammo, has really, really got off to a storming start and then capitalised on it.
Yep, he's put hammer time to the floor and pulling away. Yes, he got a bit unfortunate. He got a bit fortunate there with the drivers behind him battling, but there's no doubt he's got the speed and he wants to take this championship with both of his hands really firmly on that trophy.
How can the drivers behind him reel him in? Do they need to work together? Do they need to get into a bit of slipstream teamwork? Or otherwise Jin is going to just race away from them, isn't he?
I think it's the latter, because right now it's Danny Miranda gets a stop and go penalty for overtaking the yellows. Yeah, right now they're not really working together. They're all spread out. So it's really a case of they have to put the foot to the floor and try to maintain the pace for every single lap they have right now within the next 9.5 minutes, as Miranda again gets another stop and go penalty. So 2 in a row for some drivers. Some of them are really having a bad day.
Uzair Yusuf is a big fan of Haris Zephy. He's cheering on from Facebook. Give us your comments on Facebook. Obviously, there's plenty of Filipino interest as well. We are on board here with Haris Zephy. That's the rather large gap that he's got in front of him as they are on the early stages of lap 4. Looking backwards, that is the large gap he's got behind him, Troy Iman. So Haris Zephy has just got to be disciplined and make sure that he tries to reel in Jin, I think there, Amo.
Yeah, but he's also got the looming penalty inquiry, we can safely say, from Ayman himself, because Ayman did get shoved out of the way coming into turn 3. He would not like that one bit because he knew he had the line. Yes, he went a bit wide, but the push there was a bit unnecessary. And Zephy himself, by looking at his camera, he acknowledged that he knew that he might have taken out someone and he might get a penalty. So second place would still not be his if a 5-second penalty is dropped at the end of the race.
Okay, let's go back to Dylan Tan because he's made his way very nicely into the top 5. And that's Reynaldi Edo in his sights. And Dylan Tan is the championship leader for the silver class and really is worth staying on board with him because he's closing that gap. He is just over half a second behind Reynaldi.
And he's got less than 8 minutes left to go to actually get that 4th position. But right now, realistically, he's still in the shot of the podium if Ayman continues to, if Ayman fades away in the last 8 minutes of this race. But right now, 4th is his immediate target. He has to get it out of the way so that he stands up any chance of getting a podium on the first race.
We've never really spoken of Reynaldi Edo. Indeed, I think this might be his debut. I'll need to double check that, but it's a very, very decent start, although he is beginning to feel the pressure in the Deutsche Post yellow car. His lead is still 0.6 of a second, 0.5 a second over Dylan Tan. Interestingly, Dylan is coming under pressure from Eun Jun Cheng.
And Eun Jun Cheng quietly and confidently making his way up through the grid. He's now up to 6. One of the 3 Malaysians in the top 10 right now. Looking good for the Nations Cup points, but unfortunately for him, the Nations Cup points will only be counted for the first 2 drivers. Nonetheless, 6 will be a good haul of points for him in this round of the championship.
Certainly would, because he's been in the top 10 a few times. I don't recall him ever challenging for the top 5. Let's go on board Reynaldi. Tell us how you think he's racing at the moment. Is he coping with the pressure of Dylan Tan behind him? Because Dylan is closing that gap.
I think 4th place is looking like the likely position for Dylan Tan. But Dylan right now also has to consider the fact that this guy is also just as fast as him. So even if he does overtake him for the position, he will not necessarily get away from him. So he has to put that into consideration if he wants to make a move now and try to challenge for 3rd.
Okay, back up to the front of the grid, and Jin Mazvilton, 2.5 seconds clear. He's a little bit metronomic at the moment. A best lap of 143.0, a last lap 143.6. You keep posting those 143.5s, mid 143s, you will not be caught too easily.
And especially the fact that his best lap is 4/10 faster than Mazvilton, faster than Zephy. So right now, he's just keeping the pace. He lost about a 10th from the previous lap, but I don't think he could be caught in the last 6 minutes at least, because he's maintaining about the same pace between him and the guy in 2nd.
Okay, back to P5. Dylan Tan is beginning to make his move. Reynaldi just goes a little bit wide, and Dylan Tan, you've been predicting this for the last lap and a half, and quite rightly, Amo Hazik Dylan has got himself up into P4 ahead of Reynaldi, and that was probably a little bit too easy for as far as the Indonesian's concerned.
And actually he's dropped it. I think he just spun coming out into the apron. Yes, he did. He just slid it, but it was a half spin. He counted it back, but unfortunately he's lost also 5th position to Cheng Eng as Miranda gets yet another drive-through penalty. So I don't know what's happening there. It's a bad day for him. But coming back to Dylan Tan, yes, we saw him that he was closing in. He was closing in at a rapid rate of knots. It was only a matter of time before he gets by. But I was almost predicting that at least Edo will probably come back at him. But unfortunately, that has not happened. As whoa, Dylan Tan with a bit of a big opposite log there. As Chun Eng also as well. I think Chun Eng might have lost position. Yes, he's now actually right in front of Tony Falk. Falk has probably got him. Yes, he did. Falk has gotten through, and so did Edo. So Jun Cheng Eng, who actually got a free position from Edo, has dropped 2 positions himself through a mistake at the bus stop.
One little mistake at the bus stop. We were expecting some casualties at the bus stop. That was a late check-in from Eun Jung Chang. He drops from P4 down to P7 within half a lap, and that's Tough to take, but it's Dylan Tan who's got himself up into P4, but he's 3 seconds, Ammo, behind Troy Iman, who's driving very neatly, 1:43.5, fastest lap. His best lap was his last lap.
Indeed it is. And he's maintaining the pace, but right now, he's just still within sight of Zeffy in second. He just needs to keep the gap within at least 5 seconds. If there was a penalty, that would be dished out to Zeffy for that rather aggressive maneuver that egregiously lost him second place. But nonetheless, right now, third place is a good return for him at his try after, you know, a really mixed round last time out at Road America.
Joaquin Garrido getting a warning, drive-through penalty for ignoring slow-down warnings. Mazvilton is still leading the way, but I need to say this, Harris Zeffy hasn't been dropped, and with 3.5 minutes to go, there's still a chance that Harris might be able to make up. Well, 1.5 seconds is a long way to make up. It will need a mistake from Mazvilton.
Yes, correct. And the fact that there's 1.5 seconds here, if he gets a little bit more time, like bit by bit, a 10th per corner, he could easily be still in the slipstream. So this battle for the lead is not over by a long shot. If Mazvilton actually now needs to start conserving his tires and Zeffy still pushing.
Some comments on Facebook. Marco Hassan, Tagula-tastic. Now, where is Tagula? We'll pick him up in a moment. Yu says, go Jun Chen Jung. And Uzair Yusuf says, nice save from Dylan. Keep those comments coming. Jin Mazvilton is keeping that lead going. Metronomic, that's another 1:43.6 that he's posted there. It's not the exciting wheel-to-wheel racing that we wanted, but it's impressive all the same to see how cool and calm Jin Mazvilton has been since that first corner, Ammo.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, that start may be the one that clinches the win. Yes, it's a bit of a stretch to say that a good start will actually clinch you the win at the first corner, but in some cases, since this is such a short race, it's a sprint race, any little advantage that you could get at the start will pay dividends for you. And look at Mazvilton, that has paid off. Even if he actually loses a couple of small milliseconds in between the corners, he has that buffer from that start to help him out, just in case something goes wrong.
So Mazvilton leads. Harris Zeffy is the man who is currently in second place. Another Malaysian, Troy Iman, is in third. Dylan Tan, the championship leader, 13 points just at the moment. You pick up maximum points and a potential fastest lap. Who is the fastest lap? 1:43.5. He belongs to Harris Zeffy just at the moment, doesn't it? Tony Fock is the best of the Hong Kong racers. And Ung Jun Cheng is trying to make a move here on Rinaldi.
Actually, it's 1:43.0 by Mazvilton, so he's gonna have a grand slam by the time the race finishes. But yeah, back to the battle for 6. This is Chung Eng recovering from that slight spin and a bit of a wiggle coming out of the chicane to get up back to the back of Edo. This battle has been going all the way for the whole race as he comes now through the final corner on the banking at turn 15, sorry. Will he make it? Let's see. He's in the slipstream. Holds the inside. Now he goes outside. They're getting up dive back inside because he needs to get the line on the inside to actually stand a chance of overtaking, but not yet. Edo holds the inside line. Goes around the out. Then Chunin goes around the outside. So does Edo. Edo also goes around the outside. Comes back in. Now that might be a bit cheeky there from Edo. We might still see a stewards inquiry on that because he was weaving too much as Danny Miranda gets another drive-through penalty. How can the guy get a break? That is just tragic.
The revs going up to 7.5, 8,000. They really were going through ahead of him. Who is that? Who's gone out? It's Tony Fock. Tony Fock has just slid off to the left, lost a place. In fact, lost 2 places to Rinaldi and Ung Jun Cheng.
And I think that damage is done. Look at that. The car's crabbing. The suspension's gone. So that would have been an easy top 5 finish for Tony Fock. He has blown it away. And I thought it was F3 because they were running the same cars, but that's disaster for Tony Fock. He could have actually got a good haul of points. Can he still hold on because he's got plenty of drivers behind him who could easily take away his position?
There is Justin Hung, one of those drivers behind him, trying to go around the outside. Tony Fock desperately trying to defend. The race is just about over. We'll just stick with Justin Hung as he goes past Tony Fock. And now our attention will go on to the race leader, Jin Mazvilton. This will be a celebratory lap, and it's a first corner to line victory for Singapore's Jin Mazvilton, and we'll put him back to the top of the championship standings, Amo Haziq.
Oh yeah, definitely after the disaster last time at Road America where he had a crash and a pit stop that he had 2 extra pit stops. This is a good return. Comes out across the line, takes victory. A great comeback for him. And look at him. He's fist pumping. The relief on his face after what happened in Road America is well behind him. Sorry, Mid-Ohio is well behind him now.
Harris Zeffy coming through in P2 ahead of Troy Iman. Good performance from him. Dylan Tam will pick up P4 as you predicted. Rinaldi ahead of Ung Jun Cheng. Justin Hung ahead of Tony Falk. And Keith Griffall gets himself ahead of Tony Falk. Poor old Tony. He lost 4 places, having gone off at the end. But the victory belongs to Jin Mazvilton, and it was comprehensive, Amahazik.
Wow, indeed. In fact, the gap at the line was about close to 2 seconds. It goes to show that, yes, the starts are important, but normally, if the race, it doesn't go well, it will actually fade away. But Mazvilton made that start work, and he had the buffer, he held on to that buffer, and he held it all the way to the line. That was brilliant driving from Jin to come back after the disaster at Mid-Ohio.
It was Youssef saying Dylan probably hit the rev limiter there. They were right on the edge. The rev count those gets monstrously high here.
You need it, I think. No, actually, I think the rev limiter, pit limiter, is it? Yeah, the rev limiter. Yeah, indeed. The cars just tap out because there's not enough. There's so much straight to go that the drivers, when they actually hit the top speed already, they just can't get any faster. And that's why when you see side-by-side action, they're alongside each other, but no one can go faster because that's it. The car's already hitting the top speed. So we're going to see more of that when the reverse grid kicks in.
The reverse grid will be good. Plenty of overtaking opportunities here, but there is a reverse grid. Mazvilton takes it. Harris Zeffy second. Mazvilton also fastest lap. So that's a 27-point haul. And it's down to P14 is the reverse grid. P15, sorry, is the reverse grid. And so Royf will be on pole alongside Ryan Keefe. Wei Seong, Naufal Mohammed will be on the second row. eRacing GP at the Daytona International Speedway road course. Quick thoughts on the circuit, Ammo. Is it one that you have driven or one you would like to drive?
No, I've driven it many times in many sims. And definitely is one of the best tracks to have a best of both worlds. It's an oval and a road course at the same time. You might say the oval is a bit Mickey Mouse, but I think it is a fantastic circuit. Really great racing.
Okay, well, let's see if the drivers can make up a brilliant race in the second of the silver. The reverse grid race once again. So that means down to number 15. 15th place, Royf is on P1. We will go on board Jin Mazvilton for the start. He is back in P15. Ahead of him to his right is Harris Zeffy. And we are underway.
Oh!
Mazvilton! Oh, just maneuvers gracefully and serenely into the top 10. And nary a wheel was touched. What a start from Mazvilton.
Oh,
Ryan
no.
Keefe gets there, and then Mazvilton gets a touch on the back, but holds on to P10.
Wow, that was lucky for him because he got a bit of a whack. Yes, incident points will be there and a bit of a damage to the rear wing, but luckily he wasn't taken out. He would have been swarmed by the gaggle of cars right behind him. He makes his way from 15 to 11. Good start. Zeffy, on the other hand, who was actually in the outside of that particular starting place. He was in 14th in row 7. He got caught up a bit by the guy who was spinning right in front of him. Now he just is on the back of Mazvilton. He would have wished he made a better start.
I suppose we ought to look at the front, where Ryan Keefe is leading the way. He's got 0.7 of a second clear from India's Amitesh Nyogi. Arif Azmi, a very capable Malaysian. Wei Seong are in 3 and 4. But Ryan Keefe is beginning to pull away, and it is possible just to pull a little bit of space on this circuit.
Yep, indeed. And the fact that once they're out of the space of draft, that's it. You will not get it back. You're gonna have to make it through the road course because the speeds here, the more you increase it and the big differential between the speeds, the more the gap is. So right now, they cannot lose it because the corner says, whoa, Eamon loses it at the bus stop and he gets a penalty. I think he gets a penalty. A corner cut penalty, and that's it. Sorry, Keith has been given a time penalty, and that's it. That's the end of his race. There's no way he's coming back now.
My word, that enables Amitesh Nyogi to come through. We timed that one absolutely perfectly. Ryan Keefe, we've seen he can be quick. He was quick in qualification. He didn't have a good race 1, and now he's had a catastrophic start to race 2.
Oh my word. And someone else who has a catastrophic start to the race is Wei Seong, who was actually up to 4th at one point. Now he's actually all the way in 16th, so he might have been caught up there by that melee caused by Ryan Keefe going off track and giving the penalty. It has given everyone pre-position, but unfortunately the swarm has also taken its toll on some of the other drivers.
So Amatesh is the man who leads. Let's have a look on Dylan Tan, who got himself up into P4 in race 1. He's in P4 in race 2. Here's the youngster, and that's not an impossible gap between him and Rozan Roif and Arif Azmi, and even Amatesh ahead as he looks to get right on the tail there of Rozan Roif.
Indeed he does. And Roif, who is in pole position now, he's going to try to hold on to third. This is close between these two drivers at the start of the race. But right now, he doesn't have any other fast guys right in front of him. This is looking good for Dylan to actually claim a race win here.
This is almost a carbon copy of what happened in the last race. He was putting plenty of pressure on the driver in front of him. Maybe he can make his move now. That is what you call slipstreaming. Surely he can just come out of that protection and make his move. They're also making ground on the front too. Dylan comes out but can't work his way past Rozan Roif.
Not yet, and the fact that he thought smartly of that because he knows that there's no way that you could fit two cars through the bus stop. We saw that plenty of times in the previous classes. Now, he could try to make it through the first corner. He's in the slipstream, but unfortunately, Tony Fogg's also right behind him. He looks to make amends after that disastrous end to the first race. Look at this, these two guys. They're closing in on Roif. Roif has to pick a line to defend. He has to go either outside or inside. He's chosen the inside line, as per usual, but no, he moves a bit to the middle of the circuit. Roif tries it. Oh, there's a bit of a touch between Dylan, and he's out of the race. He's out of the race.
Rozan Roif disappears from our screens. Dylan Tan capitalises into P3. Tony Fogg and Daniel Martin go through. Rinaldi in P7. That enables Jin Mazvilton to serenely move up into P7 himself.
Wow, wait. He's actually picking up the pieces here and doing bits. And he's going to increase his championship lead if Zeffy's not going to get by here. Look at that. Is that Troy Eamon? Yes, it is Troy Eamon looking for revenge after that first race collision with Zeffy. As Zeffy now tries to go on the inside of Roif. Oh, there's a touch. No, there is Roif. He's still in the race somehow.
He is.
Wow.
That must have just been lagging.
Yeah.
So let's stay with Troy Eamon. He had a podium finish in race number 1. Here he is in P9. Harris Zeffy in his sights. Jim Mazvilton just ahead of them. Mazvilton is trying to go round the outside. Is that a back marker already being overtaken? Surely not. But
No.
still at the front, Amatesh is leading the way. Now Amatesh, he's under pressure from Arif Azmi. Retakes the lead as they come through the bus stop. Amatesh was under intense pressure and managed to hold off Arif Azmi, but he is feeling the heat with 1/3 of this race now completed.
Wow, wait. And it's still not over yet because Arif got a good run coming out of the bus stop chicane. And now he's on the side of him. He's on his right. Azmi with Nyogi on his left. He's gonna try to move around the outside coming to the first corner. Will he try to make the move here? Yes, he does. But does he have enough speed? Because the cars are now basically tapping out. Coming to turn 1. Nyogi holds the inside. Azmi goes around the outside. Azmi, no. Not enough space this time to get by. But he knows he's there. Nyogi now has to hold on for dear life for the next 9.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a difficult place to be. Would you rather be leading in this scenario, Ammo, or trailing?
Trailing, indeed. I would love to have to take this decision because out in front, with the oval and the speeds that you had to carry, any punching hole in the air, any hole in the air that's right behind you, you wouldn't want to have that because the drivers will have to get it. Oh, Nyogi spun! He just hit the side of Azmi. He just had touched a bit of the rough there. Luckily, he kept it all together, but wow, Azmi there. Now he's the leader. Now he has to make the beeline for it.
Cool, calm and collected, Arif Azmi, and behind them, while these two have been scrapping, Dylan Tan has closed in. We're on board with Dylan Tan at the moment. He's got Amatesh in his sights and Arif Azmi not too far away. And Dylan, you can't overestimate how much he has improved in the 3 seasons of eRacing GP. User the slipstream, goes on the outside, close to the wall. Can he maneuver through? He's got to get there before the bus stop, and indeed he just does. Skins it absolutely beautifully.
Brilliant move. And the fact that he didn't try to do it the previous lap against Rozan Roif, previous 2 laps ago. Now he's back here, and now he did it, and now he's up to second. He's got Azmi for the race win. He is looking good in this championship hunt.
And it's Rinaldi, who had a very, very competitive first race. He's got himself into a P4 as well. It is his debut, but he's really shining here at the silver class. Rinaldi Edo.
And he's watching brief here between Nyogi. Nyogi has not given this up. Dylan goes around the outside. Nyogi's on the inside. Nyogi tries. Oh, they touched. They have touched. And now Edo takes second. He might take it takes third. He might take second. Yes, he does. Dylan has been compromised there by Nyogi, who has been given support by his teammates and fellow countrymen in the chat here. Unfortunately, that support is not enough for him to actually claim the race win.
Well, Dylan Tan has somehow got himself back into P2, but Amitesh Nyogi has dropped down into P4. All the while, Arif Azmi is still in the lead, but hasn't been able to establish a big lead by any stretch of the imagination. It's just 0.4 of a second from Dylan Tan. On board with Dylan as they come into the left-hand corner. Dylan tries to make a really aggressive move around the outside. That lines him up for an inside maneuver. And this is the aggression that we saw in Season 2 from Dylan Tan.
Indeed, he did. And in fact, to his detriment, he got a few penalties, but he's mopped up here. A bit of a lag there. He's mopped up here. He's definitely not the same driver that we saw last time out. He's actually cleaned up his act, and he's a better driver. But will it still actually come to the crunch? When it comes to the crunch, will he still be that aggressive? We saw it just now. Around the outside, he was aggressive, but there was no touching. Luckily this time, he kept it together. He's not going to try to move at the bus stop. He's going to try to make it next time out at the first corner when he's got to drive, as a few other drivers have a penalty there coming through our screens.
Yeah, Ridorilo and Mohammed Khalif. Let's just check in on the... Well, we're on board with Arif Azmi at the moment. Actually, we'll stick with Arif because Dylan is really making a move. As is Rinaldi, as is Amitesh. Well, he's not been able to get away up the front. What's the reason from that? Because while everyone was scrapping behind him, Arif normally would have been able to make some ground up. Here he hasn't.
Oh no, and the fact that... Oh no, what happened to Edo there? He got a bit of a touch. He went to the inside, so half spin. I think he kept it together. He's dropped to 6 behind Zephy. But because you're in the front, you don't have the draft, and you're going to have less speed compared to the other cars. So that's why the other drivers who were still in his draft managed to catch up to him. Now, Azmi is the guy who's chasing and not the chasee. He will try to get that position back from Dylan Tan. Or maybe he could, do the option by just hanging back. He doesn't want to actually engage him too early and get other drivers right behind him.
You mentioned there might be a gaggle of cars coming forward. That's exactly what has happened. We've got 7 genuinely competing for the lead on board. Dan Martin, who's dropped out. Troy Hyman and Harris Zephy collide.
Daniel Martin is going to be laughing all the way to the bank. The road just opened up for him. All the drivers right in front of him have been involved in an accident. Zephy's in the wall. Ayman's in the wall. Edo just spun right in front of him, and Nyogi, I think, as well, was involved in that. And out of all that, Dylan Tan leads.
Absolutely. Harris Zephy drops down to a calamitous P11. Arif Azmi, an even more calamitous P13. And, real problems for Harris Zephy. And he is struggling. He's right of your screen there. He looks disconsolate as racers race past him. Wei Xiong goes past him. Tony Fock goes past him. Naufal passes him. This is not what Harris Zephy wanted.
Oh, wow. Indeed, this is exactly not what I think. In fact, it's gone from bad to worse. To put salt to the wound, he actually cut the corner just now because of his aerodynamics being terrible right now because of the damage. And he's coming into the pits. Look at that. There's no front wing. No wonder. There's no front wing. It's gone from bad to worse. This race is now a complete write-off as Khalif also gets another penalty.
Dylan Tan is the man who has the lead amidst all that carnage. Now, what caused it? It looked like everyone was just going into corner number 1 pretty serenely, and then suddenly there was a collision.
Yeah, actually, it was coming right up to turn 7, coming up from the apron to the oval, because that's where it kicked off. It is a very tight corner. In fact, if anyone who goes to the inside, we're coming up here right now, there. If anyone goes on the inside and there's another driver outside, which makes it a 3-way, you're going to have a collision. There's no way you can fit 3 cars there. And unfortunately, 3 and even more so cars have been involved in a collision that has changed the complexion of the entire top 10.
Certainly has. Dylan Tan, this is his race to lose. 3.5 minutes to hold on to a 2.5 second lead. Dan Martin 3rd. Amitesh Nyogi somehow has got himself back into P3. And Rozan Roif, who was right out of things, he's back into the race in P4. And Jin Mazvilton is timing this to perfection. P7, but 4 racers in front of him. A podium is on here for Jin Mazvilton.
Wow, and I'm still racing 7. Oh, he just hit the back of Garrido, I think. Yeah, hit the back of Garrido there. I'm impressed. He's still 7th despite the whole shenanigans coming right in front of him. He's still on for a podium. He's now trying to make his way through with less than 3 minutes left to go. He's dispatched Ching Ing. Now he's behind Garrido, who's also behind Roy. He's going to try to make it 2 in 1 here because Nyogi has cleared a lot of them.
2.5 minutes to race. Dylan Tan is in the distance. Dan Martin is there. The ones we can really see. The yellow of Amitesh. Then Rozan. Then Joaquim Garrido. Then Mazvilton was stayed on board with Mazvilton. Let's go to the front of the group though, and let's see how Amitesh is coping with the pressure. He didn't cope with pressure well last time we were with him.
Yep. And he was involved in that little kerfuffle, but luckily he's actually the one that escaped out of that pretty much almost unscathed. He's wiggling the car a bit. I think it's because of lag, or he's just crabbing a bit because of suspension damage. Somehow he's still in the chance for getting a podium, and indeed his team are cheering in on for him.
Back with Mazvilton. Mazvilton has got Rozan on his left. A little bit more contact as they come into this left-hand corner. Mazvilton backs off, takes the inside, more contact. Mazvilton up now into P5. 1 gone. Garrido and Amitesh ahead. Khalid picks up his 3rd drive-through penalty.
Oh wow, wait. Some drivers have had it worse than others. And last time we saw one driver getting a 122nd penalty. Literally, he was a lap behind, so there was no way he could come back here. As now we're back with Amitesh Nyogi. Nyogi holds the inside. Garrido tries the outside. Garrido has no cigar here yet, but he's still within the slipstream. But unfortunately, he's also in the clutches of Mazvilton, who's got a better run coming out of the bus stop chicane as we come across now through the final corner onto the start-finish straight.
This will be going into the final lap, and Mazvilton glides happily into P4. Has he got enough on him to get up to Amitesh Nyogi and make it a race 1 first, race 3 third? Behind them, Garrido is trying to push back. In fact, let's get on board with Garrido. Mazvilton to his left. Amitesh just ahead of them. Dylan Tan leads. Dan Martin second. This is the cracking battle for P3.
Wow, wait, it's now over by a long shot. We're gonna see this battle go all the way to the end of the race as Mazvilton touches the back of Nyogi. He's gotten the better of Garrido now. He's gonna aim for the podium. This is not over by a long shot as we had a comment coming through whether or not how many drivers were involved in that incident. I say 5. Uzay, thank you very much. So, we're back to the battle here. Around the outside goes Nyogi with Mazvilton on the inside. Garrido watching brief. He knows that if anything happens to these front two, he gets a free podium.
Mazvilton into P3. Amitesh, big collision. Amitesh comes out worst. Garrido is there. More contact. Garrido is out. Mazvilton holds on to P3. Amitesh 4. No, he loses out to Rozan Roif. Mazvilton cool and calm while everyone else is smashing into each other. He is racing away from that battle.
And actually, we cut away just as we saw another car spinning right into the path of Garrido. That's all messy there coming into turn 7 on the way back onto the oval. But whatever it is, Mazvilton has timed to perfection. He's now good as 3rd.
Well, you mentioned Garrido. He's dropped down now to P14. That is tough. Right, let's go up to the front. Dylan Tan, we've ignored you for far too long, young fella. Dylan Tan, 0 seconds on the clock. Dylan Tan is going to be right back in the championship reckoning. He picks up the victory. Young Dylan Tan picks up the victory from the more experienced Dan Martin. Jin Mazvilton will come home in P3. Let's look at P4 where Amitesh holds off Ung Jun Cheng, Rozan Roif, Mark Velter, Elman, Justin Hung and Wei Seong. Tony Fock completes the point scorers into the top 10, but Dylan Tan continues to impress, Amo Hazik.
Wow, wait. 2 wins in the space of 3 races. Yes, he didn't get the win last time, but he did get a good podium out of that. Now, he is well in the hunt for the championship. He's proving his age. Well, despite being a very young kid, he is proving to have a mental capacity of a 30-year-old experienced driver who knows how his way around to get through to get points.
His parents will love you for saying that. Okay, Jin Mazvilton, we can confirm, is the championship leader. He's got over the dreadful time he had last week. Remember, you can drop 1 week, and he's had his bad week. But Jim Mazvilton, a P1 and the fastest lap, added to a P3 here. So we'll pick up, what's that? That's 25, 27, 37 point weekend at the very least. So Jim Mazvilton takes it. Our thanks to Amo Hazik for excellent commentary work throughout the day. Great to have Amo on board for the onboard camera. And Dylan Tam celebrates. Dan Martin didn't get much of a mention, but the experienced Malaysian will be very happy to pick up P2. Haris Zephi, the one consolation is for him for a P19 is that he picked up the fastest lap, but that is not a good weekend for Haris Zephi in the overall championship standings. Alex Young rejoins me in the commentary area. Alex, that was strange. I mean, the different challenge that you put over the two races. Mazvilton was so classy, so serene in race number 1. He was equally serene in race number 2, to be fair.
Yeah, I got a bit lucky though. That collision with Azmi and Ayman and a few of the others on turn 6, I think it was, really played into his hands because he was outside the top 10 at that point. He realised it was on, and then he just did a really good job over the last few laps to pick off the drivers in front of him. And P3, he'll be super happy with that. And I think he leads the championship by like 1 point now. Yeah,
Dylan Tan will be right up there as well. And Dylan, whenever you look at that onboard camera of him and you see him looking up, it's a big wheel and a big screen. He's a young lad. But Amo in commentary said he's got the racing mind of a 30-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan's really improving. I mean, we saw in the Global Edition 2 how much he'd improved. But now he's able to put it all together to win races. And it's really, really nice to see. Another driver that does quite a bit of karting as well. So it's good to see.
Okay, we will confirm the race results because I think there might be 1 or 2 little bits of work there for the stewards. We'll confirm those race results and we'll post them on social media. We can't confirm them right now, but for now, we think Jim Mazvilton is leading the Silver Championship at the midpoint of the season. 3 rounds have been raced. Dylan Tan will be 2nd or 3rd after a good performance. He'll be 2nd after a good performance. But we've ended our coverage now of the silver category. Coming up after the break, eRacing GP goes for gold.
Organizing eRacing Championship without RaceRoom.